I had had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Hey, hello, good evening, and everybody, welcome to the Sunday night edition of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. How is everybody doing tonight? How was your Halloween? Hi, Sally's in the. Hi, Sally. Hi, Heidi, Michelle, Vet Girl. Happy Halloween. We missed you. And Kevin, good to see you. Sally, always a pleasure. Michelle. My angels just popped into the chat room, so I'm like, pretty cool. You know what I mean? I feel safe now. But a couple of announcements. I want to thank you, PRN Talk Radio 105. Hey, Kurt, good to see you. I want to thank you, PRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans. And my friend, Mr. Don Yazzie, his podcast is on right after mine tonight, 9:10. It's called Don't Whistle at Night with Mr. Don Yazzie. So when you're done watching my podcast, just go over, listen to Don's. He always has good guests. He always has good topics. He's a really cool dude. And again, show him some love. You know, show him some love. And, you know, I'm sorry you're depressed there, Sally. I'm sorry that you are, hon. Hopefully we can cheer you up tonight. But but it is November now, okay? And this is part of the announcements. It is November, and it is called the CRPS. It's an awareness month. And what that stands for is a complex regional pain syndrome. Okay. I have three beautiful friends have this disease. Excuse me rubbing my nose. It is a chronic pain condition that typically develops after a minor injury, such as a fracture, sprain, or surgery. The pain is usually intense, burning, and persistent, and it can affect one or more limbs. And my friends keep telling me about it, and they are in so much pain. And it's sad because there's nothing they can do about it. Gary, yeah, I'm happy tonight too. Yeah, the Steelers won. I had to shut it off with the last 3 minutes because my heart was thumping out of my chest. You know what I mean? But the key features of CRPS is its intense burning or throbbing pain, swelling, redness, and warmth in the affected limb, sensitivity to touch, temperature, or even light, changes in skin color, texture, growth, stiffness, and reduced range of motion, and psychologically distress and anxiety. The exact cause of CRPS is unknown, but it is believed to involve an abnormal response of the nervous system to an injury. There is no cure. Let me repeat that. There is no cure for CRPS, but treatments can help manage the symptoms and improve quality of life. And these treatments may include medications such as pain relievers, anti-inflammatories, and nerve blocks, physical therapy and rehabilitation, occupational therapy, psychological counseling, and biofeedback and relaxation techniques. And I'm here to tell you this because every November this is going on year 3, okay? I have talked about this at the beginning of my show because, like us, the little blue pill. Well, I'll let you talk to my friends there, Gary, and I tell you what, they ain't talking about no little blue pill. But they were in so much pain. And I remember my one friend, all she did was break her wrist. That was it. She broke her wrist. And she's had this for a long time now. And she's constantly in pain. And there's nothing that that they can do for her. And my friend from Australia, she broke her ankle. Okay, she broke her ankle. And she's living with it now. And she's in so much pain. And we can't send some prayers up to them, you know. It is a really bad disease and what they got. So I usually tell everybody about it, you know, during the month of November because they're my buds and, you know, I have to give awareness for it. You know what I mean? Hey, Mark Eddy, good to see you. I don't know. Tuesday's a big day. I go back and see the surgeon and the doctor, you know, for the cancer, and we'll see what's going to be happening down in the future for me. I'm still short of breath, but all the pain is gone, and I'm kind of happy for that, though. So we'll see. And now I will keep you updated on what's going on with me. But before we get into the Halloween, since a couple of my friends have come up to me, and I'm sure we have experienced this. Every one of us have experienced something like this. The feelings of impending doom, okay, where you wake up and you just feel like something bad is going to happen to you. Sally says, I keep hearing about ketamine being a potential treatment for chronic pain and a lot of other stuff. Oh, okay. Hi, Jenny, Joni. Ah, thanks. I might tell my friends about that. But has anybody ever experienced where they just go around doing their thing during the day and deep down in their stomach, they feel like something bad is going to happen? Has anybody ever experienced that before? I know I have. And it's kind of like, it's pretty bad. Because you're just waiting. You're just waiting for it to happen. And unfortunately for me, or unfortunately, oh, Michelle does. Joni says she feels that way most days of doom. Now, is it a psychological thing? Or with us being empaths, okay, are our gifts so enlightened that we kind of like feel this thing? Or is it like anxiety that we got that's causing this? That girl says, I have just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I was just going to say that girl, great minds think alike. That, because it usually happens to me when everything is going right for me. Everything, and it kind of scares me when everything goes right because it's, my nature, my luck, okay, that the other shoe's going to drop, and it just like eliminates everything that happened that was going good for me, you know. And so when I when I was in AA, I'm still sober, but I always would bring this up to my sponsor, okay, about how I feel, how I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Kevin says, or it can be picking up on other people's stuff too. That's possible. But, I would talk to my sponsor about it, and he said, and this is what he told me, and it kind of like opened my eyes a little bit, and it kind of helped me get through some really terrible situations. Okay. And what he told me was, let me get it here, because I had it on the tip of my tongue, he says, instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop, okay, what you need to do is don't think about it and enjoy all the greatness, all the goodness that has happened to you so far, because, you really cannot enjoy, what you got unless you're waiting for it. Now, I got an example for you. But Sally says, I knew my ex was going to retaliate after the protection order expired. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, Sal. I will be praying for you too. Hey, Sherry, good to see you. Hey, listen, Sherry, I haven't asked you in about 3 or 4 weeks, but have you seen any mooses? Just want to know. All right. Should be that time of the year with the snow falling on the ground and all the mooses hanging around with antlers, with like Christmas light antlers. I hope so. It's been a while since I said that, Sherry. So I'm glad that you're in the chat room tonight. I'm glad everybody's in the chat room tonight. But I will tell you a story about this. I remember one time I had a real decent return. Still okay. You see, missed that question. Okay. But I got a good return on my tax, and I wanted to go out and I wanted to buy very, very one of the long cat coats. Is what I wanted. Okay. That girl says, not moose, but myself and my son's family of 6 deers a few days ago. That is sweet. Now, that girl, what you need to do, my dear, is go and Google the metaphysical definition of what deer are about. Okay. And look it up, and it will tell you them. It'll tell you the reason why you and your son saw those 6 deers. But I remember having all this money, and I knew I could go out and buy the coat. So I went out to Century 3 Mall here in Pittsburgh, but it's no longer there no more. And I knew what coat I wanted. I knew what store to go to, and I went to that place right away. And I'm looking around, and I'm just looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm all excited because I'm just going to get that coat. But you know what? I didn't buy the coat. And you know why I didn't buy the coat? Was because I felt that I did not deserve it. That's how the mind works. And I never did get the coat. And that was many reasons why I always waited for the other foot to drop, because it was like, the Santa is coming. Yeah, true. Uh, but I never got the coat. And I ran home, called my sponsor, and I said, "What the hell's going on here? I had the money. That's what I wanted. I thought in my mind, I earned it. I deserved it, but I didn't get it." And then he went and said, "You know what? Every time you think that you want something good, or you want something good to happen to you, you always think of the bad that will happen, and especially when you don't deserve it." And that's all in the mental things. That girl says, "LOL, never thought of that. We just prayed they would cross the road safely and not get splatooned. We just enjoyed the blessing of having the opportunity to experience it." That's sweet, Vet. That's sweet. But, and you know what? Never did buy that jacket. Never did. And I remember there were times too that I would started to lose weight. Okay. And I started to look good. But then again, I sabotaged myself and I said, "This can't be happening. I won't allow this to happen, because I do not want this to be, I don't want to feel good about myself." And I'll just let myself go and gain all that weight back, and never took care of myself. And come to find out, again, it was just mental. It was the fear of making myself better. It was the fear. And I could never figure it out. Never figure it out. Until one day, I sat down and I did some deep, deep thinking that, you know, you're a beautiful person, Sean. You deserve it. You earned it. So go out and do it. Don't gain weight. Don't let yourself go. And I started doing that. And trust me, everybody, it just didn't happen overnight. It took a long time for me to get to the point where I was okay with myself, you know? And there was a lot of trials and tribulations during it. But you know what? Eventually it happened. It took a while, but I'm happy and content with myself now, which is good. And I'm sure that everybody out there listening tonight has experienced the same thing. Now, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, because there isn't. It's just how we were raised, or it's how we were, raised in a community. Sally says that she's been eating my feelings for like 2 weeks. Kurt says, "I think the way all the time. If there's one thing I would like to try and do, I first always list like 50 reasons why not do or try something." True. Good job, Kurt. And Sally, I totally understand about eating feelings. Oh boy. But for me, Sally, what it was for me by eating my feelings or keeping it inside, I used to get a lot of ulcers. And I would get sick to my stomach, because I was always afraid to express myself to people who pissed me off. I had no one to talk to. I had no one to chat with that I could actually share what's going on inside me. It was hard. I'll be the first one to tell you it was hard. But back to and why I broke off and started talking about that. I shouldn't say or realize that it's part of impending doom, or it could be. I don't know. But that's what goes on. But what's great is that I recognize what's happening, and that's how I deal with it. I give it to God. If you're having a problem too, give it to whoever you believe in. Give it to somebody who you know that you trust, that's helping you gotten through life. And eventually, and like I said, baby steps all the time. Okay. Um, Eventually it'll go away. And then you'll start feeling good about yourself. And then what's really crazy is when you start feeling good about yourself, you sit down and you're thinking, boy, look at all the dumb choices I did. Look at such a dumbass I was. And I'm not beating myself up when I say that. I'm just being honest. That's how I feel. But who has that fear of impending doom? Who gets that nervousness that they're afraid something bad's going to happen? Anybody? I'm sure. You don't have to say anything. But how I get rid of that feeling is I learn not for the other shoe to drop. Okay? I keep going on doing what I like to do, enjoying what I like to do. And I don't look for the bad to happen. I keep going. I keep going and I keep enjoying life. That's that's a hard thing to do. Sherry says every now and then. But you also got to remember too is that we are human beings. Okay, and you know what? And I know growing up, you weren't allowed to think that way. You weren't allowed to feel that way. So, and you weren't allowed to cry. You weren't allowed to say I love you. You weren't allowed to give hugs. Hey, Donna, good to see you. I'm doing great. Good to see you pop in. You weren't allowed to do none of that crap. You weren't allowed. It was frowned upon if you cried. It was frowned upon if you say I love you. It was frowned upon. You just didn't do it. And I figure growing up in that atmosphere, and I'm talking family. I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking family. And when you get something beaten into your head for the longest time, I mean, eventually it's like stuck up there in your head. But we managed to get through it. What I had to do, okay, what I had to do was say, as time went on, I'm a good person. I kept saying that to myself. I got a little thing for you guys to do tonight. And I'm going to see how many can do it. Why, Johnny? I don't know. I don't know why. It was the old Irish. Okay? It was the old Irish. You never showed expression. None of that. My uncles drank and my aunts stayed married because they were Catholic. It's what you were raised with. And that's the only explanation I can give you. Don't get me wrong. Now my family is loving and caring. They are very supportive. But back then it wasn't. But that's how it was brought on to us. Me and my cousins. That's how it was brought to us. You weren't allowed to do none of that stuff. But you know what? It's funny. It's not funny. What I did, the day my son was born, September 19th, 1990. Okay. Before he popped out of his mom's womb, I was sitting in like the waiting room or something like that, and I thought about it. I thought about how I was raised, what was done to me. I thought about it. And I made a promise to God. I made a promise to my son. And I made a promise to me. I said the promise was, I will tell my son that I love him every day. And he is 35 years old now. And to this day, I tell him that I love him. Hey, there he is. Hey, Don, good to see you, buddy. Heidi says, I struggle with change, and I distinctly heard the other night you got to let things end for new things to begin. Kind of off topic, but something I do struggle with. It's not off topic at all. Huh? I don't believe that. Thank you, Heidi. And I promised him. And I remember, and I did, and I still do when I talk to him, and that's not, and that's not no problem. I enjoy saying it. I remember one time he was a teenager, and I dropped him off in front of the house. Thank you, sir. He says, thank you. And I remember he was like 14 years old, and I just dropped him off to his friends, and we drove off, and I drove off, and then something didn't feel right. I could not figure it out. So he called me like 10 minutes later. He said, Dad, you forgot something. I said, what did I forget? He said, Daddy, you forgot to tell me that you loved me. 14 years old. He said that. I said, oh, shit. I said, I do love you. You know, I love you a lot. He says, I love you too. You know, and that happened a couple times where I forgot, or he would forget. And he would call me on it. And he says it all the time. There ain't a day that go by that he doesn't say, I love you to me, or his grandma, or his uncle, or his mom. So it works. It worked. And I kept that promise. But I just thought I'd throw that in there, you know, it is all true. That if you set your mind on something and you do it, good things do happen. Kurt says, my parents were older when they had me, and they were like that, Sean, like a stone wall with feelings and never talked about our days or anything. Makes it hard for me to do that today still. And I totally understand that, Kurt. I really, really do. But you know what, my friend? Honestly, my friend, all you have to do, okay, all you have to do is break the mold, dude, and start your own thing. Start your own tradition. You know, if it's like you and Jenda talking to your cats, say, hey, I love you, cat. Do it. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Sal. But it works. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I just want to say one thing. That I love you guys. I care for you guys. I might have never met you, but I've met you in my rooms. And I do care about you. And no matter how shitty your life is for one day, remember, it definitely gets better. Trust me, I lived through it, and I'm not a bad person today. I'm not a bad person at all. But on that note, okay, we're at 29 minutes live, and it's time to take a couple minute breaks. So if you have to, go ahead, have a cigarette, do what you got to do, go to the bathroom, get a pop or something like that. And then I'll see you in about a couple minutes. So it is definitely break time. And what can we play today? Let's see what we can play for our break. Let me move it down here a little bit. Oh, okay, we'll do this one.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of Native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the second part of the show, Into the Night, with me, your host, Sean Kelly. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans. Couple announcements real quick. My friend, Mr. Don Yazzie, his podcast, Don't Whistle at Night, will be on right after mine tonight. So whenever my show ends, please just go over there, show him some love, and check him out. Because seriously, he has a great podcast, and he's a very good friend. Very, very good. Thank you, Vet Girl. Good to see you. So we were talking a little bit of the fear of impending doom, and how most of us have experienced, I do believe. And just remember this one saying: this too shall pass, and it will be gone. You got to have faith, whatever you have faith in. Oh, gosh. Thank you, Heidi. So now we're going to get to the topic. Okay. How was everybody's Halloween? I would like to know. Did you have a lot of kids coming trick-or-treating? Did you go to any parties? Did you indulge into any alcoholic beverages? Adult beverages? Mine was great, but it was cold. It was cold as hell. But it felt good to be cold. And I'm glad it didn't rain, because here in Pittsburgh, it usually rains. But we had a lot of kids. In fact, it was crazy, okay? Because I think for us, we broke our records. We had about 190 kids. We had 190 kids. The popcorn that we were giving out just went straight through, and then we ended up giving out Hershey bars. The little, not the big ones. But it was a good night. That girl says it was raining cats and dogs and cows and horses, sideways winds. Heidi had 9 kids, maybe, but with lots of fun. Kurt says it was freezing. We dressed up around the house and ordered pizza. Sweet. Nice, relaxing, looking at all the pumpkins. 190 kids, honest to God. Heidi, that's the truth. I don't know. What was it like over in Brentwood, Sal? Did you guys get busy over there? Sally says 6 years in the smoking for me. Congratulations, girl. Appreciate. Good job. That's something that makes me feel a little less crappy about my life. You have a beautiful life, Sally. We all have beautiful lives. We've got some more comments. It was 80. Oh, it must be nice to be 80 degrees, Heidi. It must be nice. Uh, Not many kids, so much candy left over. I went to a party that week before dressed as a scout. Oh, that would have been cool. Got pictures, Sherry. You got to post some pictures. That girl said I hid inside in the dark until past dark outside while watching horror movies. That's cool. That girl says no kids for me, no decoration, lights off. Aw, that. Come on, girl. Jeez. Okay, you got to send some pictures out there, Sherry. Yes, we got to check your skeleton outfit on. And did I dress up? No, I did not dress up. My brother did. He was some kind of pharaoh or whatever, but it was too cold. But there was a lot of kids. And you know what? There was a lot of teenagers. And I remember seeing a meme on Facebook. That girl says my son trick-or-treated with his friends. They paid the mommy tax and gave me the treats. Was it Reese's? Miss that girl? I used to steal my son's Reese's cups all the time. But there was a lot of teenagers. And there was a meme out there, and I do believe I shared it. I was like, it was like, if you see a bunch of teenagers going around, you know what? And getting candy, at least they weren't doing nothing bad. They were getting candies. And I did not turn away no teenagers at all. And they were respectful this year. They were really totally respectful, which I thought was pretty cool. That girl says I decorated inside for her guilty pleasure. Joni says, not a lot of kids, no parties. I don't drink, but it was cold. But it was a good time. Very good time for me. That girl said, oh my God, chips, chocolates, lollipops, licorice, juice, pop. Oh my gosh. I would have gained. No, I like almost everything there except for the licorice. Licorice got to go. I hope no pumpkin spice shit, that girl. I mean, we got a couple more months for that, and that's it. It's done. But thank God, no pumpkin spice stuff. But we had our pizza, set up, passed out the candies. But, it was crazy. We were sitting there, and she's going to be passing off the walls for a while. But you know what? It's I brought it up at as we were passing out. Okay, there were it's like a block party for everybody. No shit, really. It was like a block party. We all went around and exchanged candies, and then I had some apple cider. Oh my God, was it good? But again, the hot apple cider our neighbors had was an alcoholic beverage. Okay, so I did not have any of that. But the apple stuff was pretty good. Heidi says I saw so much pumpkin spice flavored candy this year. Ooh, well, Heidi, I didn't see. I tried to avoid it. Well, I really couldn't go out and do no candies. That girl says no pumpkin spice, but had multiple black coffees on your behalf, though. Well, I thank you, Margaret. I truly appreciate it. And then, in all life, it was just great. It was the best 2 hours of my life. Even though I froze my ass off, it was the best 2 hours. The cold air was kind of tough on my lungs, but you know what? I was okay. And that's my Halloween. I mean, they had a lot of UPRN, a lot of other hosts on this platform had Halloween parties, but I couldn't go because I was like so damn tired. I guess, I don't like heated blankets. The ones that are electric blankets. I don't really like them, but I tell you what, I sat under one when it was all over with, and I fell asleep. It was so comfortable, but I just don't like them. Donna says I take my grandkids on the ghost ride, drive them around, and tell them ghost stories. That's pretty cool. Heidi says, I'll stay with my vanilla caramel latte fake coffee. So you go to Starbucks, huh? honey? Kurt says, I used to go to my pops to hand out candy. I do agree watching the little kids light up when you give them a handful of candy is priceless. It is. But what's crazy is that there was a bunch of little kids that went around and, they didn't care. They didn't say trick or treat. The parents had to say it for them. But they're so cute, man. It was like really cool. Heidi says, I don't like the wires in them, but that car one is a handy mofo. But there were a lot of new kids on the block. I mean, that came trick or treating, a lot that I have never seen before. I've never seen the parents before. So, which was good to see new people coming in with children and new young families too, which was a blessing in disguise. But what I didn't see a lot this year, and I don't know if anybody else experienced this in their neighborhoods, but there weren't too many pumpkins out on the porches. I don't know. Was it a bad year for pumpkins or what? I don't know. But I took a drive around the neighborhood before the little trick-or-treaters came, and I didn't hardly see any pumpkins lit. That was kind of weird. But I guess the way, prices are nowadays, they're probably expensive, But that was my Halloween. It was 2 hours of the best 2 hours of the best 2 hours of my life in 2025. Donna says, love my electric blanket. Sherry said I had 2 carved pumpkins on my steps. Oh, sweet. Did you take pictures, Sherry? I mean, but see, back when I was a teenager and when I was a little bit younger, every house had 3 or 4 of them. That's it. Too expensive for pumpkins, that girl said. But you know what? They are expensive this year. And here's the crazy deal. My friend sent me a picture from work. He said, right November 1st, they put out the Christmas candy. Isn't that a sin? Is that not a sin? I mean, they got the Christmas candies going, and in some stores I heard that they started to play Christmas music. Heidi says, I didn't see many on porches, but the store pumpkin patches were filled. Huge, nice round ones, and prices varied here. They paid $35. Holy crap. Damn. You never had pumpkins, huh, Sherry? That girl said I could have carved my giant zucchini. $3 at Walmart? Oh my God, roll that, Kevin. Haha, that's where we bought ours. Holy smokes, man, that's a lot of money for a pumpkin. Grow your own. But here in Pennsylvania, we don't have that good soil to grow anything. Basically, it's all clay on, not dirt, but mainly clay. But it was a great Halloween. And now I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. And then I'm looking forward to Christmas, And I'm going to have a lot of shows on Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. Those will usually be my Sunday night shows. And we'll see where it goes from there, So everyone had a good one, huh? The Midwest. Blame it on capitalism. I do, because the farmers, they need to feed. They need to feed their families, stuff like that. But all in all, life is good. I don't know what's going to happen next year for Halloween. They were outside at the door. Okay. Who knows? But you know what? It's okay. Because it gives us something to look forward to next year. That girl says I had about 15 zucchinis on my plant. When I went to harvest, only 1 remained. Ah, your neighbors stole your crops. Holy shit. No, I ain't good. Oh my gosh. Dawn says I grew my own after we carved them. When we're through, I feed them to my chickens. Hey, Mish, good to see you. Good to see you, dear. Welcome. So, how about it, everybody? We got about 5 minutes left before the show stops. But I just want to know, and just something to ponder. Something to ponder. Is everybody here waiting for Thanksgiving to happen? Is everybody here waiting for Thanksgiving? Did you know? I saw it on YouTube, and it was great. And think about it. I mean, I'm going to try it this year, but the recipe, yeah, just a wee bit of food porn here, Heidi. Just a little bit of food porn here. This person made a Thanksgiving dinner pizza. Yes, a Thanksgiving Day pizza. Oh, I know that, Bet. I know. But ours is coming up. And what was really cool about this Thanksgiving pizza, they got the dough, okay, and for the sauce they put gravy on top of the on top of the crust as the sauce, and then they put on cranberries. Then they put on mashed potatoes. Then they put on the stuffing, and then they put the turkey all over the pizza, and they baked it. And oh my God, it looks so damn good. He says always ending on food porn. Yes, that's the truth. Yeah, today we're ending on that food porn. If anybody don't, when I know what we're talking about, food porn on the chat and on the chat on Saturday nights with me, Joe, and Jay, we have food porn. Different episodes of food porn, where it's all we talk about is home, is food. Oh, you're going to be good, Sal. Just keep praying. I don't know if we're friends on Facebook or not, Sal. If we are, send me a message. We can talk. Seriously. Heidi says, I don't really like turkey. Is problem why? And I'm one of those who passes out afterwards. Oh, yeah, me too. Joe's going to wear an apron for us one night. Yes, he will. I'll make sure for that. Pecan pie. Yeah, pecan pie food porn. That ain't bad. I mean, the only thing I eat pumpkin in all my life, in 1 year, would be a piece of pumpkin pie. Pecan pie, I just can't do it, man. I just can't do it. I get my aunt. She used to make a chocolate, like chocolate cream pie. Chocolate. Hey, Lisa Kirk, good to see you. Welcome, hon. Good to see you. But my aunt used to make this chocolate pudding pie. Oh my God, was it die for? And boy, but I mean, Thanksgiving was great. But there's one thing before I close up tonight, real quick. Okay, this is the start of the holiday season, and yes, it is a big time for people who are depressed and mental health issues. Okay. And if you see somebody hurting, okay, if you see somebody that is depressed or whatever, go up and all you have to do is to say hello. And if they want to talk, listen to them. Just listen. You don't have to talk back. Just listen. Yes, they do, Johnny. Eaton Park does have them. We sometimes make an apple pie pizza with pineapple. That's okay. I like pineapple pizza. And all the Italians that I know don't like me when I say that. But I like pineapple on my pizza. They cringe. But what? With the depression and with the holiday season come up, think about it. People need help. People need talked to. And just be there for people. And if you're getting into that mode, you're getting brutally depressed, honestly, find somebody and talk to. Okay? It is witching hour right now. Time flies when you're having a lot of fun. And don't forget that Mr. Don Yazzie coming up with Don't Whistle at Night. Remember, I'm on Tuesday nights from 9 to 10, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Eastern. And right after my show on Tuesdays, we got C.L. Thomas, and she will definitely have her podcast, which is called the Gateway Podcast. So, children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents, and if you have no children, find someone, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, everybody, good night. And see you Tuesday. Please, everybody, be safe. Good night.